Could undrafted free agent Dante Miller be the RB2 for the 2024 New York Giants? We're going to break that down on today's show as you are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. If you could, hit that thumbs up icon, and let's get into it. It's Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post said over the weekend that he believes Dante Miller is a very real candidate for the Giants RB2 job. And if Dunleavy's going to say that at least leads me to believe that there will be an open competition for that spot. Dante Turbo Miller played in 26 games at Columbia. He was then a graduate transfer who walked on at South Carolina in 2022, with he and the Gamecocks believing he had 2 years of eligibility remaining. As it turned out, because his 2020 season at Columbia was canceled by the COVID-19 pandemic, he had only 1 year of eligibility at South Carolina. The NCAA took so long to determine Miller was ineligible to play in 2023 that the news came out after the deadline for him to declare for the 2023 draft. Essentially, he was already technically a free agent, thus not included in the 2024 draft or the 2024 scouting combine. He played in 6 games for South Carolina, where he had 6 carries for 38 yards, but he had a really, really good career at Columbia before transferring there. In 26 games there, he had 258 carries, 4.9 yards per carry, over 1,280 yards, 6 touchdowns, and he had a long run of 83 yards. He is an explosive player, and a lot of people have asked me, yo, Marsh, you haven't talked about Dante Miller that much. And to be honest with you, I thought he would just be a camp body. But with Dunleavy saying this, and the more we talk and learn about him, this job is up for work right now. Anybody can win this job. And Miller, he's going to have an honest chance to do so. The thing that I think put Miller on the Giants' radar outside of his production is what he did at his pro day, where he came in at 5'8", 190 pounds, but he threw up 225 pounds on the bench press 28 times. That would have been number 1 of all the running backs at the combine, and his 40-yard dash, an unofficial 4.27-yard 40-yard dash. Number 1 bench press at the combine if he was invited, and this would have been the fastest running back time of anybody at the combine at the running back position. He is the guy that can hit home runs. And this is what Miller actually has to say about the type of player that he is. Quote, you look at the film and you see an explosive person. Wherever I go, that's what I bring to the table. I bring explosive plays because that's the name of my game. You can say the size thing, but you won't find a back that's bigger than me, that's stronger than me, because I'm strong. I'm very strong. I'm not one of those guys. I don't smoke, I don't drink, or do any of these types of things. I feel like if you do what you need to do, you reap the benefits of that. It is hard not to root for Dante Turbo Miller. We did a video a couple of weeks ago when he was signed, going back into his history. He had a rough upbringing through his childhood, had to overcome a lot of adversity that was thrown his way, and he stepped over it, and he kept on going, and he kept on working. The NCAA kind of fumbled his eligibility situation. That didn't stop him. He kept on working hard. He kept on doing the right things, and now he finds himself with an opportunity to be a member of the 53-man roster for the New York Giants, and it sounds like he could be the RB2 if all goes well and he proves what he knows he can do this offseason. Does Dante Miller make the roster, though? Coming up around the corner, we're going to break down this entire stuff. Does he make the roster, though? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I want to hear from all the real ones in the comment section. What I can say about him making the roster is the job that he is vying for, the RB2 position, that job is wide open. We know that Devin Singletary is going to be the lead back for the Giants after 26 is no longer here. He's the guy you paid in free agency on day 1. He is going to get the lion's share of the carries. Then you got a guy like Eric Gray, who's selected in the 5th round of the 2023 draft. Gary Brightwell entering, I believe, his 4th year now in the NFL. It might be 3rd. I think it's 4th. Jashaun Corbin, a guy that I loved after being a UDFA in 2022, I believe, out of Florida State. And then you also just selected a 5th round back in Tyrone Tracy Jr. And then you have also Dante Miller listed at the bottom. 6 guys listed in the depth chart. I believe the Giants will keep 4 running backs. It's going to be a competition between Brightwell, Corbin, Tracy, and Miller, and I would say Tracy's already in because he was just picked. Two of those guys will make this team. Miller will have his chances, and it's going to be fun to watch him in the preseason compete with the rest of the backs that the New York Giants have in the stable. Coming up around the corner, I'll tell you what the Giants are going to do at running back in OTAs and how that's going to be a position battle you're going to want to watch. But for the Giants, for the best Giants offseason coverage, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 50,000 subscribers, and we need your help. If you want free, informative, entertaining content every day on Big Blue, hit that subscribe button. Dante Miller has been a fun story for the Giants fans, myself, and everybody that loves this team to follow. Easy kid to root for. He's not a kid. He's 24 years old. He's a grown-ass man. And I'm excited to talk about his chances of making this team. But first, you need to go to chatsports.com/Burns. That's chatsports.com/Burns. And get yourself a new Brian Burns Giant jersey for week 1. He's going to be wearing number 0. He's going to have a big-time production and impact on this team coming up this year. If you want to have your jersey for week 1, they're flying off the shelves. Go to chatsports.com/Burns. I'll make sure that link is clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. Jordan Ott of ESPN, beat reporter for the New York Giants, does a great job. Give him a follow. Says OTAs start today for the Giants. Today is day 1 of OTAs. It's phase 3 of the offseason program. Still optional. Teams can have a total of 10 practices over 4 weeks. They can run 7-on-7s, 9-on-7, 11-on-11. No live contact allowed. Doors open to the media for the first time on Thursday of this week. The entire OTA schedule for the Giants, May 20th, 21st, 23rd, 28th, 29th, 31st, then June 3rd and 4th, with a day off on the 5th and 6th and 7th. The Giants will close that out. I want to just talk about how the Giants are going to have to decide what running backs make this roster and how they're going to go about doing so. We know Singletary will be that lead back. He gave him some good money in free agency. He's been productive every stop of his career. He's extremely healthy, or has been, knock on wood. Hope that continues. And I expect him to have close to 1,000 yards this year and be the number 1 running back for this team. But where does everybody else slot in on that? Let's try to break it down. Eric Gray didn't get much work as a rookie. Saquon got a lot of those carries, as he should. But as a 5th-round pick just in 2023, is Joe Shane willing to punt on Eric Gray? I am not. I saw a player in the preseason that runs hard. He has some burst, limited when it comes to his top-end speed, but he's got some nice wiggle to him. He runs through arm tackles, and I think he's someone that is going to get better and better as he continues to grow in the NFL. He honestly kind of reminds me of Devin Singletary. A little bit smaller, but he's built, can run through arm tackles, has that good start-stop, but just doesn't have home run hitting speed when it comes to his top end and breakaway speed. But who is going to be the RB2? Could it be Tyrone Tracy? You just drafted him in the 5th round. So you got 2 running backs on your team. Then the last 2 drafts, you selected in round 5. And I am extremely high on Tyrone Tracy. I was in the pre-draft process, and one of my last, I think it was actually my final mock, or one of my final mock drafts, I had Tracy going to the Giants. And he brings something to this team at this position that they just quite frankly do not have. And it's because of the experience that Tracy has playing the wide receiver position. That's what he grew up doing. And in 2020 and 2021 with Iowa, he was a receiver where he had almost 30 grabs for north of 250 yards and 3 total touchdowns. So that ability to be a pass catcher out of the backfield, line up in the slot, be kind of that jack-of-all-trades type of running back, that's going to make him appealing to the Giants, Joe Shane and Brian Dable, when they're trying to trim this roster down to 53. I think Tracy is a shoo-in to make the 53. Had a really good year this past year, over 6.3 yards per carry, 8 total touchdowns. Older prospect, are going to be 25 years old in his rookie season. Dante Miller's also 24. Don't love that from them, considering the shelf life for running backs can be short. But I think Tracy brings something to this team the Giants just do not have. Gary Brightwell seems like the odd man out for me. I know the Giants like what he does on special teams. He made the 53 last year, despite not playing at all in the preseason. But with the new rules to kick off and kick return, there's more of an importance being placed on players that can contribute on special teams. Brightwell, we've seen him return some kicks. We've seen him on kick coverage. That's his way he's going to crack this roster. I've always liked the tenacity that he ran with. I'm just not sure that he's a down-in, down-out back at this level. Always have a soft spot, my man, for Jay Sean Corbin. I remember when he was an undrafted free agent out of Florida State. I love the way he competed. Brian Dable had great things to say about him in his rookie season. I thought he was really good for the Giants both times in the preseason when he was here. Upset when he didn't make the team. Glad he got that shot with Carolina. But then the Giants had injuries of their own at the running back position. They called him back up, and he came and he played a couple of games. Only had one carry, though, for 1 yard. For a young back, his pass blocking pickup ability is it's pretty hot. I like Corbin. Just going to be a really, really tough time for him to make this roster with the kind of just investments the Giants already have made at that RB position. If I had to say who should get the first crack at the RB2 spot, it would be Eric Gray. He knows the playbook. It's his second year in the system. He should be the first one to get that opportunity to prove to himself, this team, this coach, and this front office that he can be that guy. But I am very intrigued by what Dante Miller and Tyrone Tracy are going to provide. They are home run hitters. They are guys that are going to be the fastest at the position. Tracy, someone that played receiver. We've seen him be able to be a big-time playmaker. And we know Miller, they call him Turbo for a reason. 4'2", 40. He can go the distance. These two guys bring a little bit of a changeup for what the Giants have. Gray and Singletary are in between the tackles, runners, run downhill, get those tough yards. And if you allow Tracy and Dante Miller to potentially hit the edge, they may just go the distance. I'm not sure, though, I'm not sure Dante Miller will be RB2. I think he will be RB3. I think the guys competing for RB2 will be these fellas. If you think it's going to be Eric Gray, type EG, TT for Tyrone Tracy, GB for Gary Brightwell, and if you want it to be Dante Miller, type DM in the comment section. Make sure you are following me over on social media. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, and I'm going to start upping my game as well with more of a focus here on the New York Giants as we're just 16 Sundays away from week 1. Hit me up over there, and let's go Big Blue.